All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Geoff of Fluent American, and we are back again on Saturday to target your pronunciation, give you some tips and suggestions and things and feedback to help you improve in American English, specifically for pronunciation. Of course, as we go through this, if you have other questions related to American English, you can feel free to ask those as well, but obviously our preference and our focus is going to be more about pronunciation, intonation, stress, linking, and things like that. Like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, if you would like to get your pronunciation analyzed, you want me to listen to you and give some quick thoughts or suggestions, what you can do is if you go to, well, first of all, it'll be easiest if you are viewing us on YouTube. So if you're watching us on Lang 8, you can see us also at youtube.com/fluentamerican. I've posted a link where you can send in your own audio files. Okay, so you can go to that Google Drive link. You'll see instructions on the site that talk about ways to send the link so I can hear you and then give feedback for you later on in the lesson today. And of course, like I said before, if you have some specific questions and things you would like me to answer, I am always happy to answer them. Today's statement or today's sentence that we're going to be focusing on is this. You can see it here again on the YouTube stream. So these things are from the town, but those came from Italy. Okay, so this is the sentence that we're going to be analyzing for pronunciation and that you can send in the sentence for, and I will provide some feedback on. But before we take a listen to our friends who have already sent us some audio file messages, just some quick things. So for this sentence, so these things are from the town, but those came from Italy. Why did I choose this sentence? Well, I chose it because there's a lot of tricky sounds here. There's different TH sounds. There's linking to TH sounds, like for instance, going from a Z sound to a TH, which can be difficult. Additionally, there's some tricky vowel sounds as well that we're going to be paying attention to, and stress, and it's a longer sentence. There's going to be some intonation involved. Lots of different components. Hello to Candy. Thanks for joining the Lang 8 stream. Great to have you here, and as well as to Sophie. So before we listen to your audios, let's kind of just give some feedback in general for this sentence, some things that you want to be paying attention to make sure you're pronouncing this well. So let's begin from the start of the sentence. So these things, let's start with this TH sound. So we talked about this before for THs, but the way a lot of people are taught to make TH sounds is that a lot of people are taught to make TH by putting your tongue in between your teeth. So you're kind of doing like this, the, or type sound. And both of those are fine. There's nothing wrong with making that with your tongue in between your teeth. But I think one thing you're going to find is that it's going to be difficult to transition to other sounds. So for instance, these things, if you have your tongue in between your teeth, that's going to be a little bit tricky. You don't want to say these things. You want to say these things. So how can you make that transition from a Z sound to a TH? That's what we're going to be talking about. I see on the Lang 8 stream. Signian says basic spoken English. Is that what specifically can I tell you about that? I'm not entirely sure how you want me to answer, like some tips for basic spoken English. Tell me a little bit more about your goal. So how can I make the TH sound like in these things? How can I make that transition a little bit easier? Well, again, for THs, my recommendation is to just very, very lightly. You don't want to press hard. Very lightly press the tip of your tongue, so this, against your top front tooth. So press very lightly. Hello to Clee. Hello to Susanna, who's also jumped in on the YouTube stream. So again, instead of having your tongue like down here, raise it up higher, press against your top front tooth like the. I'm not sure if you can see it, but see if you can compare between your teeth versus this. So notice that my teeth can be closer together and my tongue's a little bit higher. And this is going to help get to transition to that Z sound faster. So for instance, these. So my tongue is basically, again, starting like right around here and then sliding up. These. Okay? And so these things. So it also works the other way. So going from that Z sound to a TH. It's like Z. These things. Just sliding your tongue down, make contact with your top front tooth the entire time and just slide it down. It's like things, these things. Just note about that. Okay. I see we already have a couple questions I want to address before we look at the other parts of this sentence. Signian says that because they're Indian, please tell me basic English. Again, I'm not sure what do you mean by basic English? Like, what are some common phrases in basic English? Some basic sounds to practice in English? If you can tell me a little bit more about your question, that'll be helpful. Candy also has the question, I do a mistake with E and A. Hello to No, who just jumped in. I make a mistake with E and A when I listen to any podcast. How can I find the difference? As in like the vowel sound? You know, one thing I really would recommend that I'm sure you've encountered already. You know, English is not phonetic in the sense that like when you see a letter, you automatically know how it's going to be pronounced. The letter E can be pronounced in many different ways. It can be pronounced like eh, it can be pronounced as it can be pronounced as E. You know, all of this kind of depends on situations. You know, like for instance, there's the E in the side. Duh. Notice there has a duh sound. But for instance, a word like men, it has the eh sound. So I think that it's something that would help me more when you say you make a mistake with E and A. If you can give me an example of some words that you're noticing are giving you some repeated trouble, that would be more helpful for me. I can provide more feedback for that. Because it's the same thing with the letter A. You know, there's times where the letter A can make the same sound as the letter E. Like we talked about decide. There's also like a word like adjust. It's like decide and adjust. Well, in decide, DE, that schwa sound, duh, is the same sound that the letter A makes in adjust, adjust, decide, adjust. It's the same sound, but just different letters. So some more example words would be helpful for me. I mean, I can give you some more feedback on that. Okay. Waiting for a response to that. Sophie, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. And again, if you're not sure, why am I talking to random people? So again, we are streaming on YouTube, and we're also streaming on Lang 8 as well. If you're watching on Lang 8, that's cool. If you go to youtube.com/Fluent American, you'll see some of the visuals I have, and you'll be able to send me your own audio files. If you're in the YouTube chat, again, you can send me audio files for our practice sentence here. Yeah, I've posted a link. You can also see in the lesson details the link to access the page where you can send in your own audio files. So just a note on that. And again, the sentence we're practicing is this sentence here. We just talked about how to say these things. These things are from the town. And in fact, Suzanne mentions that the transition from these things is a tricky. Yeah, it's going from that Z sound to that TH. So again, raise that tip of your tongue a little higher and just always have a little bit of contact with your top tooth and slide it down. It's like so just note on that. Yeah, that definitely is a tricky combination. These things are from the town. Let's talk really quick. So let's end on town for a moment. Stress. So again, English is stress timed. We're not going to give equal emphasis to every single word here. English is not syllable timed. So if I'm reading this sentence, I personally would probably put the stress on these, because I'm specifying like these things. These things are from the town. So my second stress would probably be on the word town. These things are from the town. These things are from the town. Notice too that I would probably have two thought groups. If you're not sure what a thought group is, what could a thought group be? A thought group is basically a group of words that go together in a sentence, usually before a pause. So for instance, in our sentence here, these things, I would probably have that together as one thought group, are from the town. That would be my second thought group. These things are from the town. These things are from the town. A helpful thing to think about for thought groups are, if you have a longer sentence and you're like, I don't know where I can breathe. Like I say this sentence, but I don't, I get confused. I don't know where I can stop. I don't know where I can breathe. What should I do? Thought groups are those places where you can pause. Thought groups are those places where you can breathe. Okay, so it can be helpful to identify them. And we'll talk more about that as well in the future. But I'm hearing two thought groups. These things are from the town. Those are my two. In every thought group, there is one word that receives heavy stress. So, for instance, I'm thinking these and I'm thinking town. So, what happens to the other words if a word is not getting stressed? English is a stress timed language. So, what happens to non stressed words? Well, two things. They're going to be said faster, and you want to try to keep the pitch lower. So, you're trying to say the information a lot faster. So, we have this middle section are from the. So if you're saying these things are from the town, cool, very clear, we'll understand you perfectly, but it's not very natural sounding because you're not doing reductions and you're giving too much weight to everything. Thank you to 80 for the follow. So my suggestions are to reduce that middle section. It's like are from the. Notice how fast I say that. Are from the. So if you're saying are from the, that's not going to have as natural a sound as are from the. These things are from the town. These things are from the town. So that's how I would pronounce it. Eddie asks, is this Italian? This is not Italian. This is American English. American English pronunciation. That's the thing that we are focusing on right now. So these things are from the town. Let's talk about the second half of this sentence. So the second half of this sentence goes, but those came from Italy. Okay, so let's start off with some pronunciation things that I think are going to be helpful. First off, how do you say the word Italy? How do you say this country? So again, just take a moment, ask yourself, how do I pronounce this country? Italy. This is a country that almost all of my students have trouble saying. And they had trouble saying this for a couple of reasons. So for instance, for Italy, let's start off with the last syllable. The last syllable is going to be a long I sound. It's like E. So that last part is really going to be like le. And what I see with a lot of students, what they do is they tend to reduce it. So they end to get like a le, or they make it too tense. They raise the placement. They project from the top of the mouth, the top of the throat. So they get like an E, which is like really tense. You can even test that yourself. Like say this E sound and see where you feel the vibration. So for instance, if you're doing like E, like hold it for a couple seconds, see where you feel the vibration. If you're feeling it like around here, kind of like the top of their throat, that's a sign that it's too high. You want to try to get it lower in your throat. So it's not E, it's more E. Okay, le. So it's not li, it's more le. Next, the middle syllable. First of all, it's going to be a schwa type sound. It's like Notice that my lips are relaxed, my tongue is relaxed, my throat is relaxed. So lots of air is making it through my throat. So it's like duh. Notice that I'm using like this fast D or flap T sound. And this is because that T is surrounded by vowels. So when a T is surrounded by vowels, what's going to happen is it's going to take on a fast D sound. So it's like duh. If you're saying tali, that's fine. People understand it. But in American English pronunciation, that's a little bit unusual. That's not how most people are going to say it. They're going to usually say the li. And that brings us to our first syllable, which is our long I sound, or like E. Excuse me. What am I doing? Long I sound at the end. Short I sound at the beginning. Excuse me. Eh. This is not E. So it's not Italy. It's Italy. So it's not Italy. It's Italy. Can you hear the big difference in sound there? For that first syllable, for that short I, remember just some quick tips. Middle of your tongue, mid-back of your tongue is high, but the back and the front of your tongue are down. And the sides of your tongue touching your top teeth. It's like you're biting the sides of your tongue very, very gently. Don't hurt yourselves when you're speaking in English. Try not to hurt yourself. So again, it's like Italy. Notice that the stress is on the first syllable. So that's the part you need to make sure is super clear. Okay. The other parts of the word don't need to be as clear, But the part you really need to make sure is strong is that first syllable. It's like the I. So it's not E, it's more I. The second part you can reduce and say faster. Like you can say like illy, illy. That's so reduced. I'm not even adding consonant sounds. I'm just saying like, illy, illy. If you wanted to have slightly stronger consonant sounds, you could do Italy, Italy, whereas slightly stronger fast D sound and slightly stronger L. But in all honesty, I think this is going to be super helpful. Is just just as long as your first syllable is stressed, the rest of the word doesn't need to be super clear. Italy, Italy. Okay. We have a question from Candy here. What is the best audiobooks will help us to improve IELTS, especially in listening? Listen, if you're studying for IELTS and things like that, you're trying to get some materials. I think it's some things you want to consider. So IELTS is a British-based test, so you probably want to be familiar with British-based resources. My biggest suggestion is to find resources you're interested in. So it's okay, to look up practice tests and things like that. I think that's fine, and you probably want to dedicate some sound to that. I think that's fine. But I think it's also important to find things that you're actually interested in listening to. So my suggestion is if you're studying for IELTS listening, listen to, like TV shows, British TV shows that you're interested in, you have fun watching. You want to try to find some content that you're comfortable watching multiple times, because with listening, something that will help you improve your listening faster is to watch the same thing multiple times. And I suggest shorter sections. So for instance, if you're watching a movie or a TV show, instead of watching the full hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it is, break it into shorter sections. So maybe even 3 minutes, honestly, is plenty of material. Choose a 2 or 3 minute section, watch it, listen to it multiple times. As you're watching or listening, you need to take notes. Okay, take notes on new vocabulary, take notes on expressions, to do things like shadowing exercises where you repeat what you hear. Those are the things that I think are more helpful. I think for IELTS listening, if I were preparing for a listening test in the language, that's what I would do. Practice some of the materials, for instance, from Cambridge or Oxford. But then I would try to also find some materials from lots of different sources that I actually enjoy more. Because let's be honest, IELTS, TOEFL, any test they're taking, they're going to pick the most boring listening materials that they can do. Hello to John. Thanks for joining us. Their goal is to bore you, disinterest you, to make the test even harder. So why not listen to things that are more entertaining to listen to? Pick things that interest you. Uwe mentions that they're cold. What should they do? Wear something warmer if you have access to it. I don't turn on your furnace if you have one. I don't know what else to say. All right, let's go back to our sentence here. So again, we're going to be reviewing feedback from students on how they say this sentence. We talked about the first part. These things are from the town. We've talked about Italy. A couple other vowel things I want to mention here. So for instance, the word came. One thing you want to watch out for, I see this all the time with students, is that, so came is ending on this M sound, right? Came. Make sure that you're not adding a vowel sound before the M. What I see with some students do, they'll say came. Notice adding this sound before the M. Just make sure you're going right from the A to the M. And the other thing that you want to make sure too is that, remember, English is paying attention to vowels. So hold your vowel as long as you can. The consonant needs to be there, but it can be very light. Came. You don't need to say came. If you're doing that, if you're saying came, those came from Italy, you're rushing your vowel sound too much, and it can make it actually a little bit harder for native speakers to understand what you're saying, or it affects your clarity, because native speakers are listening for your vowels. They're not listening as much for your consonants. Okay, so hold your vowel sound. So that's a quick note on came. Also, thanks to Susanna for the kind words. Yeah, I think repetition is going to be key for any sort of pronunciation practice, listening exercises. Now let's talk a little bit about stress. I mentioned earlier that in this sentence, so these things are from the town, but those came from Italy. I mentioned earlier that in terms of stress, I would recommend stressing these. And in the second sentence, I would recommend stressing those. And the reason for this is because of a concept called contrastive stress. And contrastive stress basically says that I want to show specific emphasis or a relationship between two parts of a sentence. And I want to highlight that for my listener. So, for instance, in this case, I have these and I have those. It's like these, those. And to highlight this, notice what I'm going to do with the intonation. These things are from the town, but those came from Italy. So notice that first one, I have kind of this rising intonation and a strong stress. These things are from the town. But for that second part, I have, but those came from Italy. These, those, these things are from the town, but those came from Italy. So again, I would stress these and I would also stress those. I think those are going to help you achieve a more natural sound. These things are from the town, but those came from Italy. And in fact, even for stress, I think these and those should be the strongest stresses in that sentence to highlight that emphasis. These things are from the town, but those came from Italy. Some other real quick pronunciation things. Welcome to those who just joined the stream. Really quick, note that but and from actually have the same vowel sound. Both of these are going to be schwas. So make sure you're not saying bot. Make sure you're saying but. And if you're having a hard time hearing the difference between those, that's okay. It just means that you need to practice your noticing and your listening more because the vowel sound, it's not an ah sound, it's an sound. Notice that my mouth is way more closed. My tongue is relaxed. I'm projecting from my throat. So again, it's not bot, it's but. It's not from, it's from. Okay, see if you can hear the differences between those. And again, if it's hard, study some minimal pair exercises. We have plenty of those on the channel. All right, so the whole sentence, one last time, I would say this as, these things are from the town, but those came from Italy. I guess I should mention too, also the word town can be a little bit tricky, especially for some of my Asian students. If you're a Mandarin speaking student, this ow sound can be a little bit tricky. So what I would really recommend is making sure at the back of your tongue is down enough so you're getting enough air through your throat. It's like ow, ow. Just try to say that with me, like ow, ow. Notice again, lots and lots and lots of air through your throat. Back of your tongue down. Front of your tongue is going to kind of raise up as you get towards the end. It is a diphthong. It's like ow, ow. Notice that again, the middle and front of my tongue are a little bit high, but the back of my tongue is down to let through enough air. What I see with a lot of, especially like Mandarin speaking students, I see like tong, tong, tong versus town, town, town. Can you hear a difference between town and town? Okay, so again, back of your tongue needs to be down enough. Another big thing too, for again, a lot of my Asian speaking students, Asian language students, that N sound, making sure that the front of your tongue touches the top of your mouth. Keep the back of your tongue down. It's not town. When I'm doing that town, I'm raising the back of my tongue, lowering the front of my tongue. But English doesn't do that. For N sounds, what English does is going to raise the front of the tongue and lower the back. It's like town, town. So again, town, not quite right, versus town, much better, much clearer. Okay, these things are from the town, but those came from Italy. Great. So that's the sentence we are going to be looking at. Before we take a look at our sentences, just a couple of quick reminders about things that we have for you. If you're liking pronunciation practice, if you want to analyze the pronunciation of native speakers and things like that, I'm excited to say that we still have one more free class, which is available at 5:30 p.m. on Mondays. This is part of my influencer, called the influencer group. So if you're influencers, if you have joined us for previous lessons, I'll show you that really quick. So again, basically, this is on Mondays, again at 5:30 p.m. New York time. And basically what we do is we look at a dialogue between native speakers, and we analyze it for a couple of things. We analyze it for intonation. We analyze it for linking. We analyze it for stress. We analyze it for thought groups. And so we see what native speakers are doing, so that way you can apply what native speakers do in their speech to your own speaking, so that way you can improve your speaking. Okay. And if you would like to join us, so this class is free. This is our last free class. It's on Monday, again, 5:30 p.m. at New York time. If you want to join us, what you can do is go to fluentamerican.com. You can click that picture, and you're going to see that there's an influencer option. You're going to see it says $5. So it's like, but you're like, Jeff, you said it was free. Well, if you want to get it for free, you can pick the date. So again, that'll be for 18th. And then you do continue. And then you say here where it says coupon. The coupon you need to enter is fluency. So I can just put fluency in here. And that way I will get access for free. So if you want to get free pronunciation practice with me for 30 minutes in a class on Zoom, it's a group class. That's how you can do it. Just go to fluentamerican.com, go to that picture, and click the picture. And I'll take you right to the lessons page. And then you can schedule that way. And again, it's free with the code fluency. Okay, so definitely it would be great to see you in a class. I hope that we can make that happen. Okay, as always, we are now, as always, we can take questions and things like that. If you have a question about American English pronunciation, I'll be happy to do my best to answer it. But for now, we are going to take a look at your audio files, which you have sent to me. Okay, give me a moment to load those up. And if you want to send your own audio file, you can still do that. Okay, we'll be doing this for most of the live stream. So again, there is the link that you can use to send your own audio file, and I'll be happy to take a listen to it to see how are you saying this sentence. These things are from the town, but those came from Italy. All right, let me share my screen and share my audio. I listened to these earlier and they sounded great. I'm just going to use this moment to get a drink of water because this kills your throat. Okay, you're also going to see me put on my headphones so that way I can hear what our friends are saying as well. All right, let's listen to this first file.
These things are from town, but those came from Italy.
Almost like a song there for a bit. Okay, if you're having trouble hearing that too, you can let me know in the chat box if you couldn't hear that, and I will do my best to adjust the audio, but I'm imagining that you could hear that okay. Let me play that first one again.
These things are from town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, so the first thing I want to mention here is stress. Okay, so one thing I noticed is that we talked about where I would put the stress. So I would put it more on these, those. He's putting a lot of stress instead on town and Italy. And, you know, in some ways I could actually see that working. So for me to contrast the stress was more between the these and the those. But you could say, no, the important thing is the difference between the locations. So you could say these things are from the town, but those came from Italy. You know, you could put it on the locations. Personally, I think it's going to sound a little bit more natural if you put the stress on the whatchamacallit. If you put the stress on the these and those, but you could put it on the location. So I do think the stress is a little bit different than what I would have done myself. What are some other things that we notice here?
These things are from town.
Let's listen to just that first part again.
These things.
I would say these to me sounds a little bit tense, like these, as opposed to these. So I do think the projection could come from lower in the throat, just a note.
They're from town.
And again, town's probably, you know, regardless of where you're putting your contrasted stress, this is probably overstressed. These things are from the town versus just these things are from the town. These things are from the town. So yes, you do want to hold your vowel, but I don't think you need to hold your vowel quite that long, unless you're just kind of playing around, maybe making it into a song and things like that. So that's my first comment. Hello, Anna. Thanks for joining us. We're taking a look at some pronunciation from people who have sent me files. Okay. So these things are from the town. That's the way I would say that first part. Let's listen to the second part.
But those came from Italy.
Okay, and Italy is probably my second biggest thing. So notice that you're saying Italy, like that.
Italy.
So a couple things. I think that Lee sound again on Italy is a little bit too tense. Hearing like Lee versus Lee. So again, lower in the throat, more relaxed, more air. So a little bit too tense in your placement for that Lee. Also, we talked about that fast D sound in Italy. So instead of Italy, more Italy. Notice again, fast D sound. Okay, it's like ita, Italy. Okay, so that's just a comment there on Italy. All right, let's listen to that whole thing one more time.
These things are from town, But those came from Italy.
Those came from. I like that, but those came from.
But those came from.
But those came from. But those came from. Slightly reduced, flatter in terms of pitch because none of these words is receiving super heavy stress. So I do think the rhythm there is actually pretty good. Also in the first part.
These things are from town.
From the town. I like also the kind of the reductions there. From the town. To hear it mentions that they're probably trolling. True. I mean, I can't say yes, can't say no. I can't judge people's intentions, but there's still I think there's still some pretty valuable things we can still get from the pronunciation stuff here. I think the whatchamacallit, just in terms of the reductions and things like that, I think that's pretty helpful. And also for placement. So those are the first things about that one. Okay. Question here from Ed. Is it fair to say that not always content words have... Ed, I'm not... It feels like our question got cut off a bit. If the question is it fair to say not always content words have stress, like that content words don't always have stress? Yeah, not every content word is going to get stressed. And sometimes function words can also be stressed too. So for instance, like I gave it to you. Like especially like for clarification. No, I didn't give it like away from you. I gave it to you. So like you want to emphasize that or something. I think that can work. So function words can receive stress. Content words don't always receive stress. So it's just something to always kind of be paying attention to and watching for. That's part of the reason, when we're doing our Zoom classes, I think it's really helpful to look at native speaker speech because they're just doing things that that don't follow the rules necessarily. We can go through textbook expectations like, oh, you need to stress this word in this situation and that word in that situation. But the reality is, native speakers aren't, following textbook rules and things. Okay, so that was our first one. Thank you for sending that. Let's take a look at our second file.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, I want to play it one more time.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, first thing that's kind of jumping out to me from this is that how can I say it? There's not a whole lot of linking going on. It sounds like every word is very individual.
These things are from the town.
You hear that? These things are from the town. These things are from the town. So I think one thing that would immediately help make this sound a little bit more natural is to introduce more linking to it. So we mentioned earlier about how to link these things. These things. I know it's a tricky combination. You can try saying that 3 times. Hello to Jenny, just dropping by. These things, these things, these things. Just practicing that linking, going from that Z sound to that TH. These things, these things. Okay. So practice linking there. And Jenny, if you want to see our audio files and things like that, you can also find us on youtube.com/fluentamerican if you're watching on Lang 8. So that's the first thing that I think would help with linking for that sentence.
These things are from the town.
Are from the town. Are from the town. I think that are from the
town.
From the town. A little bit more linking there on that last part. From the town. There's more linking there, which I think is helping. Also notice that the R is getting dragged out. It's like these things are.
These things are from the.
So what that's doing is it's kind of shifting the stress onto R. If you're like these things are, because you're raising the pitch on R and you're also holding it longer. That communicates something to people who are listening to you. That communicates to your listener that you're stressing this word. If you raise the pitch and you hold it longer, that tells your listener, oh, this is stressed. When in reality, the verb, I'll be honest, the verb to be, not usually stressed. It can be, but it's not usually the word that's emphasized. I think a more natural stress, again, like would be on these or town, like we saw earlier. But again, I would opt more for these. So instead of doing like these things are from the town versus these things are from the town. These things are from the town. Can you hear the difference just in rhythm there and things like that? So that would be my first suggestion for the first half of that sentence. For the second part,
from the town, but those came from Italy.
So the other thing too is that I'm hearing a lot of thought groups here. And again, if you're not sure what thought groups are those places where people pause or the groups of words that go together. And this is something I see a lot with students, and it's something I work with students on. Is there's nothing wrong with having a lot of thought groups in a sentence. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But understand about the impact that it has. If you have more thought groups in your sentence, if you have more pauses in your sentence, then that means you also have more stresses. If you have more stresses in your sentence, then that means that you also have more words that are held longer and are kind of demanding attention from your listener. So what that does is it can lead to sentences that sound a little bit inauthentic or that sound very choppy. Like it never gets the chance to breathe or to flow because you keep stopping to emphasize a word. So that's kind of the effect that I'm really hearing here.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
But those came from Italy. Like it's almost like we have 3 or 4 thought groups there versus, but those came from Italy. But those came from Italy. Just notice the difference in rhythm just by cutting out 1 or 2 of those thought groups. You could even reduce it further. Just do it with 1 thought group. But those came from Italy. But those came from Italy. So again, compare, but those came from Italy with this.
Those came from Italy.
Which one's going to sound a little bit more natural and relaxed and able to flow? By having just 1 thought group, you're just able to do so much more. So I do think that's a helpful practice, is reducing the thought groups there, and reducing the number of stresses.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
The other thing too, again, for that second part is stresses. I think we have too many words that are having a higher pitch. And again, that's kind of indicating to your listener that those are the words that you're stressing. And so I would cut down on the number of stresses. Listen to those came.
Those came.
But those came. But those came. Notice that those already has a higher pitch. But then came goes even a step higher than that. So as a listener, like it constantly feels like I need to restart a little bit. So I would say, instead of but those came, I would say, but those came. But those came, if you want to stress came, or but those came, lower the pitch on came if you want to stress those. So those are just some quick things that I think.
Those came from Italy.
Italy, I liked the fast D sound. I thought that was great. I think the E sound at the end is a little bit tense on your placement. It's like Italy versus Italy, 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 Italy. I'll play that again. Italy,
Italy,
Italy versus Italy. Okay, so just a note on that. Okay, thank you so much for sending this audio file. I do hope that was helpful. I have a couple more that we're going to take a look at. But let's see if there's any questions and things like that. And of course, if you have a question about anything that we are talking about right now, feel free to post it in the comments. Additionally, you can send in your own audio files to get analyzed by going to this link, which you can see in the chat or in the video description. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to our next one. I'm going to grab a glass of water as we listen to this.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
I'm going to play it one more time.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, first things that are jumping out to me is some of these vowel sounds are very tense, and the placement's a little bit high. Let's see if we can identify which ones again.
These things are from the town.
Town. I mean, town versus town. It sounds to me like, let me hear town again.
From the town.
Town. Sounds to me like the back of the tongue's a little high. Like town. These things are from the town. Versus these things are from the town. So what I would recommend is for that ow sound, again, back of your tongue a little lower, to let more air through. Okay. And also trying to hold that breath longer. Ow. So here, see if you can hear the difference between those, like oh versus ow. Again, oh versus ow. Town versus town. Town versus town. So giving that vowel more chances to breathe, more air through the throat. The other thing I would say here too is listen to that again.
Town. The town.
Down. I would hold your vowel longer as well. I think your vowel sounds a little bit rushed. It's like it's a down more town, town. Don't make that N sound too strong. Okay, again, like we talked about before, the N in American English is, consonants are not as emphasized as vowels. Okay, so it doesn't need to be town, it's just town. That N is not going to come in until the very end of the word. Okay, so that's my first suggestion for the word town. Okay, and I think a lot of these points are very valid for a lot of my Indian speakers and things like that. Hold your vowels longer. Hello, Piku. Thanks for stopping by. So again, hold your vowel sounds a little bit longer. I think it's going to be something that you'll find very helpful. Let me listen to that first half of the sentence again.
These things are from the town.
In terms of stresses, I like your stresses. Okay, so you're saying like these things are from the town. So you're stressing these and you're stressing town. I think those are very natural places to have the stress.
These things are from the
How about the THs? Let's listen to those. I know these can be tricky combinations for a lot of language groups.
These things are
How about that word things? These things. I know that's a tricky combination. You really want to hold that TH longer on things. So it's not these things. It's where these things. My recommendation is to hold the TH sound long enough so that you can hear the th or the th. And as soon as you hear that TH sound, then you can move on. Because if you go too fast, it's going to become like a T sound or a D sound. And it's not quite the sound you're looking for.
these things are
So I'm hearing these things versus these things. So just, again, hold that TH sound longer. It sounds to me also like maybe you're pressing the tip of your tongue a little bit too hard against your top front tooth. Relax it more. For the TH sound, you don't need to press hard. It's just very light contact against your top front tooth, enough contact to get the TH sound, and that's all you need. You press too hard, you're going to get a t or you're going to get a d. So instead of things, you're going to get like tings or dings. Okay. You should never block the air completely. That's another way you can check yourself. Air should always be able to move through your mouth and like your teeth and your tongue. If you ever block off that air, then that's a sign that your sound's not quite right. Okay. So these things. And then how about the second half of this?
from the town, but those came from Italy.
But those.
But those
Okay, so again, let's talk about placement because I'm hearing those. Like it's very high. It's not even just the top of the throat. I think it's even higher than that. Those versus those, and again, it's the opposite. American English, you want this low in the throat, super, super low. Like imagine that your mouth is here. Imagine that this is where your microphone is. This is where you're projecting from. Those, said do, more, those. Also more air through your throat as well. You're not trying to block off that air. Those
came from Italy.
Same thing with came. It's not those came. It's those came. So it's not those came. It's those came. Those came. And again, how am I doing that? Just lowering the throat, more air through the throat. Those are the keys to getting that sound.
But those came.
I would also say for those similar point the way we said earlier too. I think your vowel sounds a little bit rushed. So for instance, those, I'm going right from the th to almost the z, like those versus those. Again, the o sound is the most important part there. So hold that long enough. Those, okay.
From Italy.
And then we've talked about Italy before. If you're not sure about how to pronounce Italy, you can see how we pronounced it earlier in the video as well. Okay. So these things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay. I like the stresses. I think the general rhythm for this sentence is good. It's just pay attention to those things that we talked about for opening your vowel sounds more, hold your vowel sounds more in English, relax your throat more to get more air through. Those are all going to be keys to getting that more natural sound, I think. Thank you so much for sending this file. Okay. If you have questions about anything there, you can let me know. Right now, I'm seeing 2 more audio files, but again, you still have an opportunity if you would like to get your own pronunciation analyzed. Again, go to youtube.com/fluentamerican. If you're watching this on the Lang 8 stream, or if you are in the YouTube stream, what you can do is you can send in an audio file. You'll see a bunch of audio files that I've already loaded. If you go down to like here, box 8, 9, 10, and so on, you can send in a recording link to your own pronunciation, and I'll be happy to take a look at it. So you can send in your pronunciation, and I can see your link, and I'll be able to take a look at it. Okay, so just follow the steps again on the YouTube stream. We have a question from Lang A, from Piku. Also, let me know right pronunciation of 2 words. Okay, so we have 2 words here for my people in the YouTube chat. Just a quick note so you can see what words we're going to be talking about. I'll give you back your screen just for a moment. Okay, so the first word we're going to take a look at is this one. 1 moment. Okay, so how do we say this word? So this word here is violation. Violation. Some quick things here for the violation. The stress is going to be on that A. So like violate, A. And making sure that you're getting it relaxed enough. It's not violate, it's violate. Okay, so making sure, again, low in the throat, relax, lots of air. Also note that last syllable is like a short I sound with an N. So it's like in, violation. Okay, violation. The second word that we have a question about as well is the word, kind of similar roots here, or similar parts, is communication. Communication. Again, stress on the A. Short I sound at the end. It's like Asian. Really common combination in English. So I'm actually glad you brought this up because you want to make sure that you're saying that like Asian sound very clearly. And again, focus on vowel sounds. Okay, don't focus too much on the consonants. Don't let the consonants take over. It's not Asian. It's Asian. Okay. Communication. That first part too for communication, they're usually the schwa sound, k, k. And then also the mune. That oo sound tends to be tricky for a lot of students as well because it's a vowel that a lot of people are making a little bit tense. It's like mune. It's not mune, it's more mune. So again, lower throat and relax. Okay, communication. Pico, if that helps, let me know. If you have other questions, be sure to let me know as well too. We have a comment here from 101 Star Wars fan. Thanks for stopping by again, man. Good to see you. So the first O in violation is almost dropped. Keep in mind everything that we talked about today about stress and also about reductions. Where's your stress and violation? The stress is going to be on the A. So what's going to happen to that O is it's going to change it to a schwa type sound. It's like violation. Okay. Now, you will hear some people that pronounce it with more of a stressed vowel sound. So you will hear some people that say violation. You may hear that sometimes. But I think especially in rapid speech and conversational speech, you're more often than not going to hear that reduced like a violation. It's a violation. You may hear violation, but I think violation is going to be the more common option, in all honesty. Okay. Okay, so those again were some quick questions from the Lang 8 stream. If you have questions on other words or sounds, be sure to let me know as we take a look at our next file. Give me 1 moment to share my everything. Share everything I have with you guys. Everything. Give me 1 sec. Okay, this is our next audio file. We'll get some water and listen to this next one.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, let me listen to that one more time.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, some things I like here. I like the stresses. I think the stresses are very clear. I also think there's a very clear rising intonation on town. See if you can hear that.
These things are from the town.
Town. Okay. It's almost like a fall rise intonation, almost like a wavering intonation. I would even say you probably don't even need to go up that high on your rising intonation. So one general tendency, I don't want to call it a rule, but one tendency is in sentences where you see a comma. That's usually an indication that you're going to have a rising intonation. Not always, okay, but it's just kind of, if you see a comma, you're not sure how to do it, most likely you're probably going to have a rise. If you're not sure what rising intonation is, it's like rise, versus a falling intonation. It's like fall. It's like rise, fall. Or like this. So those are your intonation patterns in English. Okay. If you're not sure about, again, falling intonation, rising intonation, definitely take a look at videos that we have that talk about rising and falling. So what I'm hearing on the town, I don't know if your rising intonation had to be so strong. What I'm hearing is
these things are from the town.
Town. I probably would have cut off that intonation a little bit on town. I don't think it needs to be like town. I think it'd be town, as opposed to town. It could be more town. See if you can hear the difference between those. I don't think it has to be so dramatic. Those things are from the town.
These things are from the town.
Okay. Also, again, just a little note on linkings. Like, I think these things probably could have been linked a little bit more, because I can hear these things, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But I think you're more likely to hear those get linked a little bit more. So instead of these things, more these things.
These things are
These things, just almost like a breath in between them. And again, I don't think you're as likely to hear people put a breath in between. Like these things.
These things are from the town.
I like the reduction for that middle part. Are from the town. Are from the. I think the are from the is pronounced great. I really like that. It moves quickly. It feels a little bit linked. From the town. I really like the are from the. It's reduced. It's faster. The pitch stays relatively flatter. These are all things that I think help that sound more natural. I think that's great. Are from the town. Let's listen to the second half of this.
But those came from Italy.
But those came from Italy. Maybe again a little bit overstressed on those.
But those came.
But those. But I probably would just say, but those. So I said those. It's almost like so yes, the O sound is a diphthong. However, it doesn't have to be quite so distinct. You know, it doesn't need to be like though. It could just be like those. It can link faster between the vowels as you make the movement. Oh. It's more those came from Italy.
But those came from Italy.
Italy. Let's listen to that again.
From Italy.
Italy. Maybe a little bit of a long I sound on that I, like Italy versus Italy. But in general, I like that sound on Italy. Okay. So again, but these things came from the town, but those came from Italy. Listen to that again.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Yeah, so I think those are most of my comments on that one. Thank you so much for sending this audio. I believe it was Marcos. Okay. Susanna, thank you if you're still here. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Okay. And of course, if other people have some questions too, you can let me know. All right, let's take a look. So that was Marcos's.
These things are from the town.
Okay. And I'm seeing that right now we have one more audio file to take a look at, but there is still time. So if you would like to have your own audio analyzed, you want to get some feedback on your pronunciation for vowel sounds, linking, stress, and much, much more. Again, you can follow the steps on YouTube, youtube.com/Fluent American. I've included a link in the description that can show you how to send your audio file. Also, some reminders, again, Mondays at 5:30 p.m., our last free workshop. Okay. After this, these classes will cost, but you can get a taste of it for free on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. What we do is we analyze the speech of native speakers. We listen to what words they're stressing, where they're pausing, things like intonation, everything. And then, of course, the questions you have about it. So that way you can apply the things that native speakers are doing to your own speech to try to get a more natural sound. Okay. And again, that'll be 5:30 p.m. on Zoom. You do need to register. If you go to fluentamerican.com, it's the first picture that you're going to see. And again, you can pick the influencer tab when you click on the picture, and make sure that, again, when you're entering your information, click continue. There's a coupon option. Make sure you enter code fluency so that way you can enter in for free. Okay. I mean, you'll receive a link and everything like that. Additionally, maybe you don't want to join that class, but you want to get a little bit of pronunciation practice every day of the week. That's what our pronunciation Telegram group is for. So basically, I send a challenge group of words every day to my students or members in the group. And then I send my audio that tells you how to say the words. And then you can send your own audio in Telegram, and I give you some feedback on how you're doing. And again, that's for every single day of the week. So again, there's definitely an option to check out if you want some daily practice, just a couple minutes a day, every day of the week. So check out that option at patreon.com/Fluent American. Okay, let's take a listen. This is let me double check. This is right now our last. So I see that I have 2 more audio files waiting for me. Cool. So we'll check those in a moment, but let's listen to this first one here.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, first thing I'm noticing is that this one sounds very careful to me. Which, you know, I'm a careful person myself. I understand that, but I think that, you know, if you're too careful in your speech, you know, everything comes with costs. You know, if you're careful, that can help with clarity, but in some ways, it hurts your listening, so you can achieve a less natural sound. I think it's trying to find a balance. I would like to see some experimentation, trying to be a little bit more experimental with linking and things like that. Let's listen to this again.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, some things that we've already mentioned before with some other people. Short I sounds like Italy, Italy. Listen to how this is said.
From Italy.
I'm here, Italy, Italy versus Italy, Italy. So again, long I, short I sounds I think would be worth taking a look at. Italy. I do like your fast D sound. I think the end of the word sounds okay, but I think the big thing there is the short I.
Italy.
Let's listen to the first part of the sentence again.
These things are.
These things. So again, I think the stress is good. I think the stress is on these very clearly. I would like to work on that linking from that Z to that TH just to be a little bit faster. So instead of being like these things, more these things, I'm just helping that linking more.
Are from the town.
Are from the town. Are from the town. These things are from the town. That's kind of what I'm hearing. These things are from the town.
These things are from the town.
These things are from the town. So instead of doing are from the town, I'll probably do are from the town. These things are from the town. So again, I would probably reduce the are from the, make that a little bit faster, a little bit more linked together, cut out any breaths that you have there, things like that. I think that would have helped give that a little bit more of a natural feel. These things are from the town versus these things are from the town. These things are from the town. And then the second half.
The town, but those came from.
How about that? Those. Listen to that again.
But those came.
But those versus but those. And this is similar to what we talked about before. O sound is a diphthong. That is true. But when you're saying oh, it doesn't need to become like oh. It's more oh. So there's two things that are happening. The first thing is that the placement's a little bit high. So you're getting like this oh. So it's a lot tenser. You're blocking off more air. So what's happening is it's changing your sound. So it's not letting enough air through your throat. So it's not letting you get a more natural like oh. It's more oh versus oh. And then again, the second thing is just like I mentioned before, the diphthong sound is kind of breaking into two parts. And you want to try to unify those a little bit more. It's not oh, it's more oh, those. So again, if you're saying like those versus those, see if you can hear the difference. Again, the second one sound a little bit more natural in American English.
But those came from Italy.
Okay, those came from Italy. Those came from Italy. But those came from Italy. Which word are you stressing more?
But those came from Italy.
I would even say it sounds like the heavier stress is actually on Italy there, as opposed to those. Listen again.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
But those came from Italy, as opposed to but those came from Italy. But those came from Italy. These things came from town, but those came from Italy. I personally, again, would probably opt for heavier stresses on these and those than on town and Italy. But that's, again, your speaker's choice, you know, what they think is more important for that sentence. Okay. All right, so those are some of the things that I noticed there. Thank you so much for sending that audio as well. I'm going to take a look to see if we have any questions. And of course, if you have some questions about American English pronunciation, about a word, about stress, intonation, linking, anything like that, or maybe even just like a grammar question or something like that too, be sure to let me know. Now is the time to send those. Okay. Zobeda asks, not sure if I know how it works. Know how it works with regards to like how to send an audio file. Okay, so I'll walk through the process again. Give me 1 second. I will share. I can show you how to do this. I'll see a question from Alessandro. Alessandro, thank you for joining us. Give me 1 second. I'll be right with your question. Okay, so again, if you want to send your own audio file, okay, so Beta, I don't know if yours is easy, but again, what you do is you go to this page, and so you need to go to vocaroo.com. When you go to vocaroo.com, what you're going to see is basically, oh, stop myself. So you'll see this little audio button. You press the button. You then make your recording. Then after that, you'll have the option to save it as a link, and then you can post that link here. I'm going to imagine that's you, Zobeda, but I'm not entirely sure. It's just a note. Alessandro asks us, could those with stressed use this on be a little bit? Yeah, I mean, that's what's going to happen. If you pronounce them like those, like though, like a little bit like that, what that's going to do is that's going to make it sound a little bit more British, honestly. It's one of the big differences between American English and British English is placement. British English is higher. In fact, for a lot of, like, for instance, European type languages where the placement is higher. A lot of European languages, placement is high. British English is a little bit closer to that. Okay. But American English is much lower and much more relaxed. So American English is letting a lot more air through the throat compared to other versions of English. Okay. So like British English, Australian English, South African English, things like that. These are all versions of English that tend to have a tenser placement and a higher placement. American English is going to be lower and more relaxed than those types. That's why, for instance, American English sounds very different than like British English, but British English sounds a lot more similar to, for instance, like Australian English, because the placement's a lot more similar. Okay. Yeah. Alessandro, if that answers your question, let me know. If you have other questions, let me know too. Okay. All right. Other people we see here. Hello to Lucas. Hey, Lucas, it's been a minute, man. How's the married life? Hope you're enjoying it. Okay. And indeed, that's me. So Beta got her link in. Okay, let's take a listen to our next people. Just give me a moment just to scout these files, just make sure everything is sounding good. And of course, if you have some other questions related to pronunciation as I'm checking these, you can always let me know as well. Okay, first one's sounding good. Take a quick listen to our second one here. Okay, cool. It knows that both of those sound like they came in great. Okay, let me share my screen again. Let's listen to some people's audio. Give me one moment. Let's see what you guys got for me. Okay, listen to this one first.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, let's listen to that one more time.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, I want to listen to that first part again.
These things.
These things. So you can get more of these things. These. I'm hearing like this versus these. I think the middle of your tongue sounds a little bit low. I would even raise that a little higher. These versus this. These.
These things are from the town, but
these things are from the town.
These things are from the town, but
from the town. Let me hear that again.
Things are from the town. But
these things are from the town. These things are from the town.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
But those came from Italy.
But those came from Italy.
Though I would even say on those it sounds slightly tense to me, like those versus those. See if you can get a little bit more air through your throat, just a little bit more. I think it's close. I would like more air to come through for that. Those came from it, but those came from Italy.
Those came from Italy.
Also for Italy.
From Italy. From Italy.
I'm trying to see if I heard like Italy versus Italy.
Those came from Italy.
Yeah, I'd even say for Italy, you could even hold that first vowel sound a little bit longer. It sounds a little bit fast. It's a minor thing. I don't think it's a big deal. I personally probably just held that vowel just a little bit longer.
This came from Italy.
It's like Italy versus like Italy, especially because you know that short I, that's your stress on Italy. It's not Italy, it's Italy. So I would say stressed vowels on your word. You know, when you have a word, whatever the stressed syllable is, I would just hold that vowel just a little bit longer. When I say a little bit, I mean like like a millisecond or like 2 milliseconds. It doesn't have to be like super long, but just long enough to make sure it gets a little bit more attention. Listen to that again.
These things are
I like the link in there. These things, I think that's great.
these things are from the town.
Or from the town, or from the town. Let me hear the from the.
These things are from the town.
From the, yeah. Originally, I was thinking that the M wasn't long enough. So that's actually something I see a lot with students is that like M's or N's tend to get shortened for a lot of language groups. So making sure that, again, if you have an M or an N in a word, make sure you're holding that consonant long enough. I think this is actually okay.
These things are from the town, but
No, listen again.
these things are from
the
the
town,
but
I wouldn't have been opposed to holding the M sound just a little longer. From the town, instead of from the town, or from the town, from the, to like the from the town. These things are from the town, I think just holding that M again, just like an extra millisecond would have been a little helpful.
these things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Yeah. In general, I like the rhythm here. I think it sounds pretty good. Just paying attention to those things. The biggest thing I would say for those, I think the biggest word is those. Just trying to get a little bit more relaxed and lower in the throat. But I think you're doing some great stuff here. Hope that's helpful. Thank you for sending audio. I really appreciate it. Let me check to make sure there's any questions and things. No, look good. Okay. All right. Next file.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Sounds like a Russian accent.
These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Okay, let's listen to the first part again.
These things.
These things. These things. These things.
These things.
These things versus these things. Okay, so what's happening is the stress is falling on a different word. So the stress is falling on things. And I'm saying that because what I'm hearing is I'm hearing the pitch go higher. So like
these things.
These things. Things. These things. These things.
These things.
And so again, when you raise the pitch on a word, even just a little bit, that's telling your listener that this is the stressed word. And that really affects your rhythm. These things. I don't think that if you have a combination with like these and things, it's not likely that the stress is going to fall on things. I think it's more likely it's going to stress on these. Okay, so that's the first thing I would recommend is stress these. So instead of these things, more these things. Lower the pitch on things. These things. These things. These things.
These things are from the town.
Are from the town. Are from the town.
Things are from the town.
Are from the town.
Things are from the town.
Are from the town. I would reduce R a little bit instead of are from the town, more are from the town. I just do a lot of times R as the verb to be, are oftentimes gets reduced a little bit. So instead of doing are from the or from the, these things are from the, notice when I'm saying that these things are from, it's like it's not R, it's more So I would reduce that R sound just a little bit.
These things are from the town.
Are from the town. So instead of saying are from the town, more are from the town. These things are from the town, or from the town. So I would reduce the R a little bit. In the second half.
But those.
But those versus but those. Same thing we talked about for that O sound for last couple of recordings, actually. O sound, more air through your throat, more relaxed, lower. Okay. Oh. So instead those, more those, but those.
But those came from Italy. These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Came from, I'm gonna check Italy again.
From Italy. These things came from Italy.
I would maybe even hold for Italy. I would maybe hold that last E sound. What I see with a lot of students for long I's at the end of words is they tend to say them very fast, and sometimes they even reduce them. So instead of saying like li, you often get like le, or like it sounds like that. I think you still have the long I sound here, but I would just hold it longer. It's like li, Italy. So say Italy, more Italy. For the first parts for Italy.
Came from Italy. These things are from the town, but those came from Italy.
Yeah, so I think my biggest suggestion for Italy, I actually think the short I sound is actually pretty decent. I would just say again, short that long I at the end, I would have just held just a little bit longer. I think that will help get that that natural sound. Yeah, so my biggest suggestions are stress. So instead of like these things, more these things are from the town. Reduce it more. These things are from the town, but those came from Italy. I would also say on your thought groups, so these times where you have these breaths, I would cut your breaths, shorten the space between them. Hello, Birch. Thanks for joining us on the Lang 8 stream. So for your breaths, shorten your breaths a little bit. They don't need to be quite so long.
These things are from the town.
Because again, I'm hearing like these things are from the town. These things, pause, are from the town, pause. Versus these things are from the town. Notice that things are, because the other thing too is that these things are from the town. There's linking going on here, right? It's like things ending on that gz, gz type sound and then R starting with that vowel sound. So what English is going to do is if you have a word that ends on a consonant and your next word starts with a vowel sound, what English will do is it's going to move that consonant onto your vowel. So, but if you have a pause, you can't do that. So you left like these things are from the town versus these things are from, notice it comes things are. So you can that things are. And that linking is just going to help you get that more natural sound. Okay, so that's one thing I would do. Watch out for those pauses. Don't make them too long because it's going to affect your rhythm and your ability to link. So just watch out for that. So again, it's like things are versus things are. That linking just is going to sound a lot more natural if you take off that breath and you can attach that consonant onto your vowel.
But those came from Italy.
But
these
those came
things
from Italy.
Are
yeah. So those would be my major comments there. Okay, thank you so much for sending that audio file. All right, let's check on the stream, see if anyone has any questions. Zobeda notes that it sounds like O should be pronounced like yo, like it's just like oh. That's again, the O sound is a tricky vowel sound. So I'm gonna just type a couple of words in the chat that I think will be helpful for practicing O sounds. Let's talk about O just by itself when a word ends on an O. Then we can also talk about, so like for instance, like go and slow, but then some other O sounds that you may hear as well. So like a tricky combination I see with O sounds is when they link with N's. So for instance, like own or like bone. Or other tricky combinations with O can also be, for instance, when it links with like an L. So like for instance, like whole or stole. Okay, so it's just some quick practice words for the O sound. Okay, I'll say each of these words twice. I would encourage you, if you're watching this, to repeat after me. Even better would be recording yourself, but I know not everyone has the resources or the time or things like that to do it. But let's listen to this again. So for instance, I'm just going to say all these. You can repeat after me. Go, go, slow, slow, own, bone, bone, whole, stole. Notice that those last two words are ending with a dark L sound. Okay, so the back of your tongue is high and the front of your tongue is down. It's like it's not whole, it's whole, or it's not stole, it's stole. Okay, but let's read these again. So I'm going to read them twice. The first time I'm going to read it tense, and the second time I'm going to read it more relaxed. So for instance, go, go, slow, slow, own, bone, whole, stole. Okay, see if you can hear the difference between all of those words there. Some quick O sound practice for you there. Okay, and of course, if there's some other vowel sounds that you would like to see, you can always let me know as well. Okay, I believe, just checking my documents, that's all of the Google document people that I see. Okay, so I believe we got to everyone's audio, which is great. Now, just some notes. Again, these are all things that we practice during our live stream. So if you would like to get your audio file for next time, so for our next live stream, which will be next Saturday, if you want to get your own pronunciation analyzed, what you can do is you can go to the very same link. You'll see later today, I'll have a different prompt of different sentence for you guys to say. And then you can post the link to your audio file and I will be happy to take a look at it. And we can do the same thing that we did today. Okay, so save that Google Doc link. Listen, take a look at it later today and see if you want to say the sentence. And if you know other people that would be interested in getting their pronunciation analyzed as well, you can send them the link as well, and they can send in their audio file, and I'll be happy to look at it and give some suggestions and feedback. But again, I think that's going to conclude us for today. We got through everyone's audio file, which is great. If you have future questions about pronunciation, be sure to let me know. You can send me a message here on YouTube or comment on one of the videos and things like that. Additionally, tomorrow, our next video coming out, we'll be taking a look at Duolingo. Do I know anyone here use Duolingo? Any Duolingo people here that use the app Duolingo to study their language? I know Duolingo, there's people that have different feelings about Duolingo. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm going to show you some tips and things that you can use to make Duolingo into a pronunciation. Can you learn pronunciation on Duolingo? And if so, what are the things that you need to do to make Duolingo into a pronunciation application or something that can help you more with pronunciation? Okay. Hello to Richard. Thank you for joining us on the Streamlining 8. We're about to head out. But if you follow, you can see some of our pronunciation videos in the future. But again, this is Geoff with Fluent American. Thank you guys so much for your time. If you have other questions about pronunciation, again, you can find us at youtube.com/fluentamerican. We also have pages on all sorts of social medias and things like that. But yeah, we have targeted your pronunciation for today. Hope to see you guys soon. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. You guys take care.